There is a moment in Revelation where everything changes, not with fire, not with thunder, not with the breaking of the earth or the darkening of the sun. It begins with a seal being opened, the first seal, and what emerges is beautiful. A white horse, a crowned rider, the image of triumph. The Lamb, slain, now standing, takes the scroll sealed with 7 seals. He breaks the first one. One of the 4 living creatures speaks with a voice like thunder. "Come!" And the rider appears, white, victorious, bearing a crown. Everything that follows in Revelation, the wars, the famines, the collapse of nations, the unraveling of creation itself, it all begins here with this rider, this image that looks so right. But what if that's the point? What if the greatest danger doesn't arrive looking like evil? What if it comes dressed in exactly the colors we've been taught to trust? In the ancient world, a white horse meant something. It wasn't just a mode of transportation, it was a declaration. Roman generals rode white horses through the streets during triumph parades. Victors returning from conquest, crowned with laurel, celebrated by throngs of people. White horses carried kings. They symbolized purity, honor, divine favor. When you saw a white horse, you saw legitimacy. You saw power that had earned the right to rule. So when John sees this vision, when the first seal breaks and a white horse steps forward, the image itself is comforting, familiar. It speaks of order, restored order, of righteousness on the move. This is not the pale, sickly horse that comes later carrying death. This is brilliant white, the color of wedding garments, of robes made clean, of heaven itself. And yet, this rider leads directly into catastrophe. The red horse of war follows, then the black horse of famine, then the pale horse of death. Why would something that looks holy be the opening act of judgment? Why would the first seal, opened by the Lamb himself, release something that resembles victory but ushers in ruin? Let's look at what the text actually says. Revelation 6, verse 2. "And I looked, and behold, a white horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer." A bow, not a sword. The other horsemen carry swords, bring famine, wield death, but this rider, he carries a bow. And here's what's strange. No arrows are mentioned. It's a weapon, yes, but one of distance, one of threat more than immediate violence. A bow suggests power held in reserve, the capacity to strike without striking. He wears a crown, but notice the words, Stephanos, not diadema, the crown of a king born to rule. A Stephanos is a victor's crown, a wreath given to the winner of a contest. This is a crown bestowed, not inherited, authority granted, not owned. Compare this, just for a moment, to another white horse, another rider. In Revelation 19, Christ returns. He rides a white horse, but his crown is a diadema. Many crowns, the crowns of true kingship. His weapon is not a bow. It's the sword of his mouth, the word that judges and makes war in righteousness. His robe is dipped in blood. His name is known, faithful and true. This rider in chapter 6, he has none of that. He is given a crown. He carries a bow with no arrows, and he goes out conquering. The difference matters. Conquering and to conquer. Listen to the rhythm of that phrase again. He went out conquering and to conquer. Not conquered, past tense. Not will conquer, singular future event. Conquering and to conquer. Present tense, moving into continuous action. This is momentum. This is expansion. One victory leads to another. One nation falls, then the next. One ideology takes root, then spreads. One compromise, then 100. This writer doesn't stop. He doesn't arrive, plant a flag, and rest. His mission is perpetual forward motion. The conquest never ends, it multiplies. This is the quiet horror of the first seal. It's not loud. It's not immediate chaos. It's the slow, methodical spread of something that looks like order, like peace, like the answer everyone's been waiting for. Think of movements that rise not by force, but by persuasion. Ideologies that promise unity and deliver control. Symptoms that centralize power under the banner of security. The bow without arrows. Conquest without war. At least not yet. For centuries, interpreters have wrestled with this writer, and the most widely held view, the one that runs through church history like a shiver, is this: the white rider is a deceiver. He is the counterfeit, the false Christ, the one who mimics salvation but delivers destruction. He doesn't conquer through violence at first. He conquers through influence, through diplomacy, through the appearance of answers. He offers what the world is desperate for: peace, stability, a strong hand to guide the chaos into order. And the world welcomes him. Jesus warned about this. In Matthew 24, when the disciples asked him about the end, his first words were not about wars or earthquakes. His first warning was about deception. Many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. Not some, many. Deception works because it resembles truth. A counterfeit bill isn't printed on notebook paper. It's made to look exactly like the real thing. Same texture, same weight, same ink. You only catch it when you know what to look for. The white horse looks right. The crown looks legitimate. The conquest looks like progress. But the fruit reveals the root. What follows this writer is not peace. It's war, famine, death. The first seal doesn't unleash destruction immediately. It unleashes the lie that makes destruction inevitable. Modern interpreters, particularly within evangelical circles, see this writer as the Antichrist himself, not a symbolic force, person. A figure who will rise on the world stage not as a tyrant from the beginning, but as a peacemaker, a uniter, someone who brokers deals, solves crises, wins trust. In this view, the first seal marks his emergence, his rise to power. He comes offering solutions to the problems the world can't solve on its own. And for a time, it works. He does conquer. He does bring a semblance of order. But it's a false peace, a temporary calm before the true catastrophe. The writer prepares the stage. The other horsemen follow because he's opened the door. Whether you hold this view or not, it carries a warning worth considering. Not every display of power is righteous. Not every promise of peace is genuine. Not every crown worn is earned through truth. Sometimes the most dangerous figure is the one we're conditioned to applaud. It's worth acknowledging that not all interpreters see this writer the same way. Some, throughout church history, have viewed the white rider as Christ himself, the spread of the gospel, the victorious advance of the kingdom through the proclamation of truth. In this view, the crown is rightfully his. The conquering is spiritual, the overtaking of darkness by light, of lies by truth. And there's something beautiful in that reading, isn't there? That the first thing unleashed into the last days is not terror, but the relentless advance of grace. But there are tensions. The crown here is Stephanos, not diadema. The weapon is a bow, not the word. And most critically, what follows this writer is not revival, but war and death. Others take a different historical approach. They see the white rider as imperial power, Rome, or any empire that expands under the guise of peace, Pax Romana, peace through domination. Each view has its merits, each has its scholars, each has its reasons. But perhaps the invitation here isn't to settle the debate with absolute certainty. Perhaps it's to sit with the discomfort of a symbol that can be mistaken, to ask ourselves, do I know the difference? Could I tell? Would I recognize a counterfeit if it rode in on a white horse? Here's what we know for certain. The white rider comes first, before war, before famine, before death. The sequence is not arbitrary. Deception precedes destruction. False peace opens the door for true violence. A lie believed becomes the foundation for tragedy. The first seal isn't loud, it's convincing. This writer doesn't break down gates, he's invited in. He wins allegiance, he gains followers. People place their hope in him because he looks like the answer they've been waiting for. And by the time they realize what he truly is, the other horsemen are already riding. This is the insidious nature of the first seal. It doesn't feel like judgment, it feels like rescue. But Jesus opens it. The Lamb who is slain, who alone is worthy, he breaks the seal. Which means this too is part of the unfolding, part of the revelation of what has always been true. The world system, left to itself, will always choose the appealing lie over the costly truth. It will crown the deceiver and call it wisdom. The white rider isn't given a crown. He doesn't seize it by force. It's given to him. By whom? The text doesn't say. But someone hands him authority. Someone bows. Someone believes. And he rides. Scripture doesn't reveal these things to terrify us. It reveals them to prepare us, to sharpen our discernment, to train our eyes to see the difference between the true and the counterfeit, between the Lamb who is slain and the rider who only looks victorious. Not every white horse is salvation. Not every crowned figure speaks truth. Not every conquest comes from God. The world will always be vulnerable to the attractive lie, the compelling leader, the movement that promises peace while sowing the seeds of war. But those who know the word, who know the voice of the true shepherd, won't be fooled by imitations. Truth doesn't need spectacle. It doesn't need a bow without arrows or a crown given by crowds. Truth withstands testing. Truth bears the scars of sacrifice. Truth doesn't conquer to conquer. It conquers through love, through death, through resurrection. So perhaps the question we're left with isn't just about a future rider. Perhaps it's about right now. What are we trusting? What are we crowning? what looks like victory in our lives, in our world, that might be leading us somewhere we don't want to go. The first seal has been opened. The white horse has ridden, and the question remains, do we know the difference?